Hi, this is Derek Sai from LearnByBlogging.com. Happy New Year. Today is January 16th, 2017, and this is my first episode of the year. I have I've read a lot of books, and I've been really backlogged in terms of reviewing the book. Hopefully I'll catch up next few weeks. Today I'll be reviewing this book called The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. And I don't have the book with me as I have read most of the books by the ebook. And so here's a screenshot of the book. Anyway, I heard of this book through a YouTube channel that recommended this book highly. And little did I know that it actually made into a movie already. So after halfway through the book, I watched the movie and sort of spoiling the ending for me. But I was hoping that the book ending would be different from the movie. But no, it's not as predictable as the other movie. But it's very similar to the movie. The book was very well written and in fairly good pace. Most of the time I thought I was watching or reading the Walking Dead, which I followed very religiously, except the zombies or hungries were faster and meaner than regular zombie and Walking Dead, and faster and more deadly consequence when the person are infected, and they turn immediately into these hungries. Since I don't know the ending of The Walking Dead, so we cannot compare the ending, but it'll be interesting to know if there are difference. I thought in the book, Miss Justina was a little bit. By the way, you're gonna be if you plan to read the book or watch the movie, this might spoil the ending for you, and you might want to wait until you read the book or watch the movie. I thought in the character, Miss Justina was a bit more aggressive than I expect a teacher to be, and the two soldiers, Sergeant Parks and Gallagher, were what they should be. They are soldiers, courageous and masculine. Cowell, the scientist, was dedicated to saving the human race, and she would try to any means, including cutting up a children's brain, just to be the savior of mankind. Very believable, the character, and I think Glenn Close in the movie did a fantastic job. And Melanie is portrayed as a smart kid who learned from the best, and she's loyal to the people who's kind to her. But ultimately, she had a self-determination when she had to choose between humans and her own kind. She had the gifts of being half humans and hungries, and possessed the ability to switch back and forth. So that's what all the gifts is all about. There were subtle differences between the book and the movie. For example, number one, there's no junkers in the movie probably because the time limitation of the movie. And Miss Justina was much nicer in the movie than in the book, probably because Dr. Cowell, which acted by Glenn Close, seems to be meaner, to be Justina's punchbag in the book as in the book. Number three is the grand tower of fungus climbing on the tall building instead of erected on its own. Probably from a visual standpoint, it's much better in the movie. Overall, I enjoy and recommend the book and the movie. It's a nice mental getaway from the daily grind of work and escape from the weighty non-fiction books. Nothing like a apocalyptic book like this book can put you to a proper perspective. Here's a quick review of the book and the movie. Be aware that the review definitely will reveal the ending, and you want to stop here if you don't want to ruin the ending for you, or want me to ruin the ending for you. You might want to wait until you read the book or watch the movie. Also, the author, M.R. Carey, had the foresight, the privilege of writing the book and the movie script simultaneously, which is very clever. The movie differs slightly from the book, but mostly follow the book's plot. The book started with a lot of imprisoned kids being strapped in wheelchairs during the class, and really piqued my interest in the beginning. It gets more interesting and more suspenseful when the zombie characteristic was revealed in those kids. This was where it reminded me of the movie, of the TV show Walking Dead, or other zombie movie. And Melanie was the girl with all the gifts. So what kind of gifts? And I mentioned this earlier, but you will discover along the way as the story continues. The book was written in the present tense to enhance the suspense as you are watching the story, as the story unfolds, as if you are watching the story unfolds. And Miss Justina was the teacher who was teaching all these special kids who could turn into monsters like the other Hungries, who at this time most of humans have become, and after being affected by this fungus of this fungi, funny name, I don't know what the author came up with the name. However, these kids were special because they possess most of the human characteristic until they smell humans or living things, at which time the monster or the fungus occupied brain would take over and attack and feed on the living things. So to prevent them from turning, the human had to put on special blocker to prevent the human sense from emitting. And the kids were stationed in a special research camp for Dr. Caldwell to do research and cut out and slice their brain cells for experimentations. Not exactly a very good way of treating those kids, if you think about it. And why educate those kids if you plan to cut them out eventually? But eventually the camp got run over by Hungries, leaving Justina, the teacher, Caldwell, the scientist, Sergeant Parks, the protector, and the Gallagher, Parks' subordinates, of course, and Melanie. They ran from one place to another trying to get to Beacon, which is the headquarters of human intelligence. Along the way, they found this special mobile research truck, Rosie, that Caldwell used to work in. And they ended up, at this time they encountered this bunch of kids just like those in the camp, and except they are much more raw and uneducated. They could not even speak a language. Probably didn't get educated, and they attacked Rosie and ended up killing all the humans except Justina. And because of Melanie's scheme in tricking Parks into starting this flame of this grand tower, which is the mother of all fungus, and somehow every human in their body they grow this tree that merge together to turn into this humongous tower. And they bear this pod, the fruits, and when they burn, they spread out all the spores. So in doing so, the spores from the hot pods will spread into the air, infected all the humans, and turning them into Hungries. Except for Justina, who will stay in the Rosie and teach the kids language and culture, and just like the beginning of the story. I don't think she would last very long in that truck, but that's probably a sequel or another story. So hoping the humans would, at this time we're hoping that the human will make a comeback and we take the world, but the ending did not happen like that. It ushered in the demise of humans and beginning of a new civilization when the fungus and human form would coexist, starting with these kids. But now, how would they going to propagate themselves, or we don't know. I wasn't told how that would happen. Maybe that's another story for a sequel. Anyway, it's a good book, reasonably interesting and smart, and remind me of The Walking Dead and the book's runs pretty well and pretty fast paced. A good book if you're on vacation or something that you want to kill some time and get yourself adrenaline pumping. Okay, and that's all I have. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye now.